The topic tonight is how many real Sabahan. It works. Yeah. Okay, good. There you are. There you are. How many are real Sabahan? The population of Sabah compared to Sarawak, you see, Sarawak is almost horizontal. Sabah like a rocket, PAP. Sabah population. This is the appetizer only lah. Angkara Mahathir. This is just a beginning, just an introduction. A book written about IC project in Sabah by our late colleague, said he passed away mysteriously. Ya, although kita punya saudara Wakil Hafiz said, maybe nothing will come out of it, but we Sabahan still hope that something will come out of it. Wow, so
no wonder you already said.
Yeah. Number one, term of reference. How many immigrants have been issued blue IC? The answer in RCI is this: 67,000 from beginning until last August 31st, year 13. And they refuse to acknowledge the figure calculated by me. I said 600,000 by 2005, and I said 750,000 by year 2000. This is those who got IC plus their children. Not all got IC, because their children still many young, not all enough to have IC, right? Term number two, if they said 67,000 only given, then term number two, the answer is they are in order, telling us that 67,000 since Malaysia there, all of them, the immigrants who got citizenship, got blue IC, they are in order, no problem with them. But there's a proviso answered by the RCI. What was wrong was that the applicants gave inaccurate information. Are you going to tell me that amongst the 67,000, they gave wrong information, inaccurate information to get the citizenship? Then how to explain the population increase in Sabah if only 67,000 in 50 years compared to Sarawak? Want to know, we in Sabah want to know, who gave, how many of them gave inaccurate information, who are they and why? One of the witnesses, JPN Ketua Penolong Penggara, she said, from Malaysia there until year 2002, only 45,000 citizenship granted in Sabah. Then how to explain the increase in population of Sabah when compared to Sarawak? You look, by year 2000 already overtaken Sarawak population, and yet she said only 45,000 granted to Sabah. Term number 6, we go next to number 6, is to find out the reason in the increase in the population. To find out the reason for the increase in the population in Sabah in accordance to the following category of people. Category number 1 is the people of Sabah who got our blue IC and were given citizenship through the late birth registration. There are 3 things in that. One by one I will go through. The other categories of people are the foreign workers with permit, the illegal immigrants, the really illegal without papers, and the fourth one is the refugees. And the last part of the terms number 6 is to scrutinize the effect of these people who are registered in the electoral roll. That's term number 6. So, To find out the reason in increase in our population according to the certain category of people in Sabah, we will study the population growth of Sabah and Sarawak compared. Yes, 300,000 in 30 years, Sabah increased compared to Sarawak only 100%. When you consider the year 2010, worse, look. Well, people tell me, Dr. Chong, you did not include the foreigners' population. Okay, I removed the foreigners' population. Look at the increase compared to Sarawak in the last 40 years. Sabah, more than twice, almost twice, Sarawak. But I calculated, and one other witness in the RCI also said the same thing. Sabah, Sarawak should parallel together in their population growth. If that is so, Sarawak increased by 145% in 40 years. Sabah should also increase by 145%. Therefore, Sabah by year 2010 should have done 1.6 million. Not like that, that's not parallel. So, you remove the so-called total Malaysian in Sabah, you remove the genuine population. Who are these extra? The title tonight is, who are the real Sabahan? The real Sabahan are here. Okay, the real Sabahan. Jimmy Wong said the others, PTI who got become our citizens, but they don't have IC yet, not all of them, Jimmy. Only 500,000 of them got IC. The other 300,000 of their children yet all enough to get IC. So when you take the next step of that, don't say all of them got IC. Yeah. So, recap. Year 2000, this is the situation in Sabah. How many are real Sabahan? Itulah extra punya. What is that? How many are real? Who are the extra one? Who are them? We study the different races increase rates in Sabah. KDM, Kadazan, Dusun, Murut, Bajau, and Malay, the three big categories. In year, pointer, yeah, look, Malay how many? 18,000. Look, so fast it increase. Look at here. The increase rate in 30 years. Tadi our saudara Rafizi said 300,000, but Malay around 1,500. This is statistic department punya figure, not saya cakap saja. And these are the statistic figures that also mentioned in RCI, not only by me but by other people also. So the extra people are the so-called Bajau and Malay. Bajau increased twice as much as Kadazan Dusun Murut. The Malay increased almost 10 times. This is the extra people, extra Malaysian. No wonder long time ago, Radin Mali from Sabah, PBS, foreigners will outnumber us. Betul-betul sudah outnumbered. Nasri said your population increase is due to your very good health services. He forgot Sarawak health services, Renaldo YB sini, better than Sabah. And yet, why Sarawak did not increase extraordinarily? Another stupid reason given by the Home Minister Parliamentary Sec in 2006. Because plenty of you Sabahan in the interior, mountainous area, no birth certificate. Therefore, we went in and registered them late registration of birth. And he said almost 750,000 late registration of birth. Sarawak is more mountainous than Sabah. Sarawak also got late registration of birth. Why Sarawak population did not increase extraordinarily? If this is betul-betul true, interior Sabah late registration, why it reflects? Why it is does not reflect Kadazan, Durut, Murut, Dusun population. Who stay in the interior in Sabah? Not the Malay, not the Bajau. So this is outright trying to bluff a Sabahan. Kita Sabah bukan bodoh, tapi dibodohkan. RCI viewed the statistics by many people, including me, they are credible statistics. RCI said this. But if you accept this statistic, why you accepted this figure given by NRD that only 45,000 citizenship and IC granted to immigrants since Malaysia Day? That's why the RCI report no royal. That's why the RCI report not signed by any of the commissioners. Why are they here? So RCI trying to find out why they are here. So RCI look into the Project IC, the Southern Philippines refugees and other reasons. On Project IC, RCI look at the all IC number in Sabah. The terms reference number 6. The people of Sabah, including those who were issued blue ICs. Radin Mali also said, all those IC given to foreigners because term Project IC because they falsified the Sijil Akuan or Akuan Surat Akuan. This is the all IC in Sabah. You also have all IC long time ago before the Bunga Raya. At the back of the blue IC is written down. How did you get your IC? What document you have? All these Project IC people at the back is written Sijil Akuan. Radin Mali in Parliament 1995 questioned the number of almost 200,000 IC numbers. Who are the owners of these ICs? These are the IC RCI look into. The old IC, in the Project IC. The Project IC in the RCI only, Project IC, they only look around these figures. All IC numbers. So these all IC numbers, there are three group of people giving evidence. Hasna Ibrahim and the 6 ex-NRD officers who were detained under ISA against the other 3 persons. The other 3 persons are Tun Mahathir, Tan Sri Haris Harli, and Tan Sri Samsudin Aziz. Hasna Ibrahim said, he himself involved giving IC. He also said, sign buta-buta the Sijil Akuan, certified first. He got the power to certify because he's one of the native chiefs. He's one of the 60 people in Sabah during that time allowed to sign that. He also said, he was arrested under ISA also in the 1988 because he attended meetings chaired by Mega Junid that ICs are supposed to be given to illegal immigrants with approval from Dr. Mahathir. Therefore, people call this Project Mahathir.
Project M.
Project M. The 6 ex-NRD officers who gave evidence in this RCI, 2 of them are ex-directors. These 2 ex-directors of JP in Sabah, before they became director, they were high-position officers at National Keselamatan Majelis Keselamatan Negara, National Security Council officers. They were seconded to become state JPN directors by Mahathir. Mahathir during that time is a Home Minister. Also, Majelis Keselamatan Negara Bina Chairman. So we thought, being a security people, they should understand sovereignty of Sabah. So, these 6 NRD officers, without exception, they said, we were directed. Except one of them said, I directed myself. The other 5 said, directed from above. To give ICs to to illegal immigrants. The purpose is openly in the court to increase Malay population in Sabah, therefore increase the Muslim voters in Sabah to topple PBS government. Without exception, they corroborated. They used the words Muslim. So, two opposing sides. One said this, and the other three denied. RCI said, use the word vigorously. The other three powerful figures denied vigorously the existence of Project IC. But, this is the Hasnan Ibrahim. This is the fellow. He talked about the modus operandi of how to give IC to foreigners before and after Berjaya 4. Like this one I show you. You see, I've shown you the Sijil Akwaan. This Sijil Akwaan, interesting. From the 1st April 1987, it's not allowed to be used. So how to get IC for them? It's already not allowed. Two ways. One, backdate it. Secondly, use late registration of birth certificate, unendorsed by the magistrate court. This late registration of birth in Sabah is the only one in whole Malaysia that it must go through magistrate court to be endorsed by the court before it is a legal document. After 42 days of birth, if you have no birth certificate, you must apply for it, but must be endorsed by the magistrate court. There is a law on this. There is an ordinance, Birth and Death Ordinance 1952 for North Borneo, and it is still a legal document today. Saman Majid also use Sijil Akwaan. Saman Majid came to Malaysia in 1985. He went to Sabah 2 years later. Within 2 weeks he got this IC. How did he get this IC? He was asked, why you want to come to Sabah to get this IC? Because I heard in Sabah you can get Malaysian Blue IC provided you are 25 years old and above and you are Muslim. They will give you the Blue IC if you promise to vote for BN. This fellow was charged in court. He was supposed to be repatriated to Pakistan, but he managed after release, after 199 days in police lockup in KL, he managed to sue the government of Malaysia for wrongful revocation of his citizenship. Although in the High Court, he said, I was born in Pakistan, I went to Sabah in this. But he won the case. Because the government did not produce the Sijil Akwaan, the judge gave the judgment in his favor, inverse reference, itu legal term lah. Interesting about the Sijil Akwaan, this is the example of other people. This Sijil Akwaan at the back, they have this serial number of the IC and also the dates of issuance. You see, if you study this, why so many issued after April the 1st, 1987? Number one. Number two, if that is so, why this one not issued after this one? This one April issued, but the others, look, issued after April, but the number went before this. So a lot of hanky-panky. But I don't expect people to study this. But I'm just being odd person. I look at this. No, only many NRD staff. You need to master there. Another interesting thing about this temporary IC, if you damage your IC, you cannot tukar ini JPN 1/9. If you lost your IC, you lodge a police report, they give you JPN 1/11. This girl, same name, same photograph, got two names, got two IC number. Both more or less the same date she got it. And the other thing is, police report of hilang dia punya IC November 98, and she got issued in February 98. I produced this in my Likas election petition. I got the original of this. Original, not the photocopy. After I photocopied this original, I got the magistrate court judge to certify true copy, then I surrendered the original to police station. So just as I said just now. Witness 15 is the ex-director. Document not fake, although they were issued illegally, issued without documents, mainly to illegal immigrants. The whole exercise is to increase the number of Muslim voters in Sabah. Dia satu berani cakap begitu. The rest dia said to increase Muslim voters, increase Muslim voters. This fellow said to defeat PBS. But Pyrin is the working committee chairman, bukan? How is he going to answer this? This one suggested long time ago, but it never materialized. Election Commission on this legal immigrants. So the other three cannot call to testify. Oh, I never heard of Project Mahathir, let alone Project IC. Mahathir cakap lah. Tapi 1992 orang sudah cakap, I got the IC to Project President Mahathir. This is Filipino. When he was released from jail, he was registered in the electoral roll. Dia itu kan. So what did RCA say about this Project IC? In balance of probability, Project IC did exist at all material times. Itu RCI punya report. So they believe Hasna Ibrahim and the ex-NRD officer punya testimony rather than to believe the three powerful figures. This is, dia tidak mau directly cakap you three are biased lah kan. So they believe the other thing on balance of probability. So after looking at them, those Project IC, then they dig into the refugees problem in Sabah. They only said they are avoiding their country because of civil war. But the RCI, although they are witnesses and although they are exhibit standard at RCI, the report never talk about this. You are given one IMM 13 to stay in Sabah, provided you must declare your desire to stay in Sabah permanently. Number one. Number two, after 15 years in Sabah, you apply entry permit, I give you permanent resident status. Number three, I give you IMM 13, you stay in Sabah, but you're not allowed into Malaya. This is the government policy on refugees in Sabah. I think, Saudara Mr. Lim, you remember in your Parliamentary Select Committee, this is one of the things, not allowed into Malaya. So, the other things RCA look into all the historical thing, being a porous borders, you know, orang cari makan, begitu-begitu, and enforcement officers punya attitude, and the weak institutionalized citizenship system. Dia cakap begitu saja, tapi they did not explain how to get the documents. So they give four reasons. Number one, civil war. Number two, cari makan. Number three, the border so porous. Number four, kamu senang-senang saya kasih dokumen itu, orang mau masuk, dia bilang. Yang betul Sabah, it's very nice, quiet, beautiful place. Kan enggak? Mana dapat cari begitu punya scenic picture di Semenanjung. So, but there are certain evidence produced in RCI, but the RCI would not like to highlight or completely ignore them. For example, terang-terang orang cakap, I give them IC to increase Muslim population and voters in Sabah. They're saying this, but RCI would not like directly to say the reason. is also submitted that there is a policy that foreign workers with permit must not allow their children and their wife to be with them. But the government ignored this policy and let them in. And then third one, as I said just now, ada tu banyak tu policy for refugees. The purpose is that, ya lah tadi dia cakap. Now, this other evidence dia, Saman Majid already said just now, ini Saman Majid, handsome punya Pakistan. He's still around in KL, but he's no more voter. I checked already.
His lawyer was Kapolsek.
Yeah, he's a good lawyer. He defended the one. The judgment said the government did not produce the documents, you see, to say that he's really a foreigner. The evidence of other IC recipients, you see, there are 25 people not born in Sabah, immigrants, testified. 22 of them, the IC are P2 IC. P2 IC number are all IC number within certain serial number, categorized as one amongst the project IC numbers. The thing about this, they are based on registrations regulation 1972, which was repealed 1990. Therefore, 1992, how the hell they can get blue IC? By this time, you should be given KPT, itu bunga raya punya IC. Number two, after April 1987, you are not supposed using Sijil Akuan, but still. Number three, as I said, P2 IC number, it was told by us, by NRD, are issued during this year only. But some of them went beyond that to 1992. And also, if you are in Sabahan, by late 80s, if you have old IC number, your IC number should be like that. H08 or H09. Not H05 or H04 or H03. You got me? A bit too many, but one evening, susah mau episode. The late Mutalib, he died 1 week before he's supposed to testify. But the police officer ada dapat witness statement from him. Kenapa RCI did not use the witness statement? He wrote 4 books, also all given to RCI. First book, IC palsu merampas hak anak Sabah. Second book, pengundi antuk for Siwa. Third book, Project IC agenda tersembunyi Mahathir. Third book. Fourth book, all about IC again. Sayang dia mati. Kalau tidak di malam dia di sini. Another document, witness, in the form of an exhibit tendered in this RCI, is this exhibit P122 about Public Select Committee on Integrity. The evidence produced in this hearing of this Public Select Committee. Kita punya saudara Lim, Mr. Lim, is Deputy Chairman of this Public Select Committee. Betul. Banyak mau cerita pasal ini, Pak. Here, NRD tried to evade questions. They pushed the buck to National Security Council. They said this is secret data. Must have first the owner's consent or next of kin baru boleh kasih. Last, when they were asked to rarely produce question asked about Mutalib books, though they couldn't stand it, so they have directive from the above bilang jangan lagi kamu pergi entertain itu PAC. Itulah the chairman Tan Sri Badan Nombak resigned as the chairman of that select committee in 2007. Regulation 1972, repeal 1990. A lot of evidence in RCI, all IC given to immigrants in the early 90s. Early 90s, you are not supposed to give all IC, already repealed. Early 90s, you are not supposed to use Sijil Akuan. So, if you have to use Regulation 92 to give all IC, you got no Sijil Akuan allowed, so what do? They use late registration of birth. How serious is this? As I said just now, kalau magistrate court did not endorse the certificate, it's not a legal document. You see, if you look at term reference number 6, the people of Sabah, citizenship through birth late registration. You also have to consider that. So did RCI look into it? Because one of the terms of reference is this. Tapi RCI tiada seriously look into it. Did RCI inquire or not? To me, they did not. As I said earlier, by 2006, already almost 750,000 late registrations. How many of them certified by the magistrate court? This RCI, ada satu witness, Chief Registrar KK High Court. She looked after this matter. She said in the past 5-6 years, only 32,000 ada certified by the magistrate court. 32,000. In the RCI, itu satu cakap di parlimen, ada almost 750,000. He said in parliament in year 2006, in the RCI witnesses from the ex-NRD cakap, by year 1994 sudah ada 300 approved late registration certificate. One of the two ex-directors said 300,000 sudah approved. Ada cerita di RCI, the testimony, but RCI when they put up the report, they did not mention it. They completely ignored it. Then again, Tan Sri Simon Sipal, State Secretary during the time when the regulation 1972 ended and the new regulation started. And that's the time also when the NRD berhabis-habis to catch the time, backdate the Sijil Akuan requirement to get the blue ICs. So he also testified in the RCI, saying he knows of the thing going on because he got friend who Sabahan, who worked in the JPN headquarters here in KL, telling him a lot of IC done in KL, laminated in KL, brought back to Sabah to give to foreigners. You know or not, this report got summary of every one of us, 211. But there are 4 or 5 people, itu summary pun tiada, including Tan Sri Simon Sipal punya summary pun tiada di dalam. Statistic by Sabah Election Commission. I was a candidate 1999 election. They used 1988 punya gazetted electoral roll. During that time, there are 726,000 voters Sabah electoral roll. But RCI punya evidence tendered by election commission begitu. I wonder how they keep the statistic. Big difference. This is 700 in the one. I still kept the hard copy, the whole Sabah. Tapi the record, the exhibit tendered by them, this one. Adakah electoral suddenly pandai decrease? Kenapa tengok? And then suddenly decrease, and then increase, jump up so high again. Itulah. This is only happening in Sabah. Although some area in Peninsula ada juga Myanmar lah, Thailand, Cambodia dapat IC, tapi not in that scale, Kasihanlah kan di Sabah, kamu tidak berapa, yang ada kena tapi tidak berapa teruk. Kami di Sabah, apa macam lagi mau beli manang election kalau semua jadi voters? My election petition likas, I was the petitioner. I show all the evidence. Future generation will not forgive you. KDM kita. My graph in my book, I have a book, I study all the electoral Sabah for 4 or 5 years. Study this number, mentioned in Public Select Committee, and also mentioned in the RCI. Look, why like this? Asking Parliament, why if they are citizens not registered as voters? The answer is, cannot force citizens to register. Second question, I examine all this number, 26% of this, 53% of this, altogether about 70,000 names. Out of that 70,000 names, satu nama Cina pun dia. If you examine the racial breakdown of voters from this number, I see 15% in every 10,000 IC. 10,000 IC running number registered electoral roll, 10,000 names, other 15 names in Chinese. But all those project IC punya tiada satu nama in Chinese. When I ask this question, orang bilang untuk kau celaka kau racist. Ayah, saya bilang, if I put nama like Peter Peter Saili ataupun Abraham Saili, orang dusun Murut, you don't know is local Sabahan or foreigners. But if you Chinese, nothing racial. It's just to tell you. Saya pun bukan 100% Chinese. Saya ada saudara Melayu, bukan Melayu, beragama Islam juga. Exhibit 1 to 2. Just now I said exhibit 1 to 2. Itulah. What interesting about this, if you remember this article, this one. This article. Openly stated in newspaper, news KK. Kami dari Filipina, ikut bapak mama, tahun apa. Now kami ada my card, jadi pengundi di sini sana. I check. They only give they did not give any IC number, but luckily the name are correct, Fault and Tamski, correct name, so I could trace the electoral roll. From there I found out this fellow got all IC number, which is project IC number. This fellow never had project IC, and never had all IC number. And the Parliamentary Select Committee told that the JPN, NRD told the Parliamentary Select Committee on Integrity that this Tamski got his IC through late birth registration. NRD told the PAC Select Committee that he got his my card or Bunga Raya through late birth registration. That's why lah. Kalau kau tidak dapat all IC, kau mau minta dapat blue IC, KPT atau my card, you use late registration punya birth. It was so argued, debated hotly in the Select Committee. With all the reasons they don't want to tell. Finally they said they are genuine Malaysian, they are genuine IC. When pressed further on, then they said kita hitamkan dia orang, blacklisted. What does it mean by blacklisted? They said, memanglah dong punya taraf pengundian pun hilang. Tapi until today, they are still registered voters. So they are tembiran, bukan enggak? Blacklisted, no more in the electoral roll. Tapi until today, they are still voters. Born in Sulawesi, dia punya IC, all IC bilang born in Pulau Banggi. Ini JPN cakap dia punya late birth certificate said born in Pulau Gaya. Ini pun patut jadi saksi tapi tidak kena panggil. Dia pergi Haraka tahun 2007, dia told Haraka how he was involved and arrested under ISL. But he also presented his view on the Parliamentary Select Committee. Ya. Itulah angkara dia lah. Sampai dia pun resign. Therefore, my conclusion is this RCI, if you look through all the RCI, jangan baca saja dia punya report. If you read through all the transcript of the witnesses, and if you got hold of the exhibits, I'm lucky I got hold of certain exhibits. The main reason in increase in population in Sabah is because they want to increase the Muslim population so that the voters also increase. This is a federal agenda for Sabah, so that they can control forever politically Sabah. In fact, this is nothing religious. If you remember, Kelantan 1977 ada emergency rule, bukan enggak? Why? Because kalau ada emergency rule, federal can control Kelantan. Tapi Kelantan almost 100% Muslim. Kenapa mau begitu? So this is nothing religious, but this is political greed. So this is the summary of it, why I say this is federal agenda. The last part of term number 6, effect of those number registered electoral roll. Kalau begitu ramai Bajau dan lebih lagi ramai so-called Melayu di Sabah jadi pengundi, apa macam lagi? So, the boundary and the state seat, parliamentary seat, they increase in Sabah before 45% Muslim, 45% non-Muslim, 10% Chinese. Now apa? Now it's now 55% Muslim and 35% non-Muslim. Why? Because they have increased the Muslim voters. Which is connected to terms reference number 3. Whether those IC given to immigrants not in accordance with the law ada di-registered di electoral roll. Kalau the answer in terms reference number 2 bilang they did not give IC not in accordance with the law, which means all the IC given to immigrants are in accordance with the law, why the hell you have to find out whether they are registered in the electoral roll or not? And you got my point or not? If you said they are all given accordance to the law, why you have these terms of reference to find out if they are registered? No need ba? Bukan ka? Kalau semua registered IC given according to the law, then you don't need these terms of reference. Tapi ada di terms of reference, and the answer is ample evidence, but the exact number tidak certain. Itu dia answer. Ada banyak example evidence a lot to say that they are registered in the electoral roll, those who got IC not in accordance with the law. Maybe they read this, I don't know. One of the witnesses, NRD, punya officer cakap, they have obtained their IC based on false information. We understand that their names are still... No, sorry. This is RCI punya report, RCI punya report. They have obtained the IC based on false information. They are registered in the roll. If not, rectify serious repercussion. Tan Sri, Khairin, berani ke cakap itu? Rectify, kalau tidak apa? Terms of reference, do they have to know how many registered in the electoral roll? My calculation is about 20%. Sabah electoral roll now about just over 1 million, and I said there are 200 million of them are unqualified voters. How do I get to that figure? Based on all IC number already 70,000 in 1999, PBS punya report. If we have extra Malaysian in Sabah, 800,000, how many of them all enough to have IC? 500,000. Because 1/3 of the children are under 12. So 500 other IC. How many of them boleh register voters above 21? Senang-senang 200,000. Term number 7. The social implication to the community resulting from the issuance of ICs of citizenship to immigrants. Here, RCI cannot answer because we cannot separate those other IC and those that are IC, whether they got the IC properly or not. I cannot answer, separate them, therefore we lump them together. So the report on that is lumping all the foreigners together. Whether you got document or not, whether you got work permit or not, whether you got blue IC legal or not, they're lumped together. The other terms saya mau cakap lah, masa punya masa. So conclusion, there is a federal agenda in Sabah to increase Muslim population, Muslim voters, to control politically Sabah. And then having known that, what are you going to do next? You know that 200,000 non-qualified voters. What are you going to do? You have the extra citizen. What are you going to do with them? Are you going to look at humanitarian ground only, like Saudara Rafizi said? You look at the humanitarian ground of the foreigners. Are you going to look at the Sabahan, local Sabahan, punya sentiment or not? You have to balance it. Kalau kau ada satu biji ubat, kasih hidup satu orang saja, are you going to give the foreigners or kau punya orang sendiri? What humanitarian ground are you going to say? To us in Sabah, all this thing going on is to get what you want at the end. Whatever method you use doesn't matter. The final thing is they want political control. What you want to do? In fact, there are laws in Sabah you can do if you have political will. You look at the IGC report. I didn't say this.
10 years ago.
He said this 10 years ago. He said this 10 years ago. If he's the working committee chairman, what is he going to suggest about those citizens? There are 800,000 of them. How about those 750,000 late birth registrations and uncertified magistrate court? They are not legal document. Are you going to take legal action against them? Immigration Act Part 2, Part 7. Part 1 to 6 cover the whole country, Malaysia. Part 7 covers Sabah and Sarawak. I think Sarawak, YB, sini, Marathi. We got a lot of power. If we think, it doesn't matter you're Malaysian or not, if you're from Sabah or Sarawak or Malaya, if you want to come to Sabah, we can invoke this to stop you coming in. If you're already in and we want to kick you out, we can also invoke this. If you look at the Immigration Act, also ada. See? Whom the government has said wishes to be removed from the state shall be so removed. The word shall. Very strong. IM 13. Refugees given permanent residence status in Sabah. Political will, you can revoke them if you want. Orang Sarawak, orang Malaya mau minta PR status in Sabah, you must get state government approval. Why this one without Sabah government approval? Not even approval, knowledge pun tidak tahu. Kasih PR status. If PR status pun mau go through the state government, what about citizenship for immigrants in Sabah? Doesn't it have to go through state government also? If it did not go through state government, itu citizenship to immigrant in Sabah can be also, kalau ada political will, can be revoked. Tapi adakah the political will? So at the end, still we are asking how many are there Sabah?
Half.
These figures come out yearbook 2012. Sabah statistic yearbook 2012. If you look at the Sabah yearbook 2010, bukan ini punya figure. 2010 yearbook, Malay is almost 400,000, bukan 178,000. Yearbook 2010, ini yang Bumi Putra lain-lain, bukan 600 over 1,000, is only 400 over 1,000. They remove most of the number in 2010 punya yearbook from Melayu, they put under Bumi Putra lain-lain. Why the statistic department trying to jiggle the statistic? That's another session, itu panjang tu story. Nah, inilah saya cakap kenapa commissioner tidak mau sign itu buku, kenapa lawyer pun omitted. Itu saya berani cakap begitu, nanti saya kena seditious. Thank you, have a good night.